So we got a bowl full of them there, trimmed up and split apart. Now I told you earlier I thought there was probably around 50 in that bunch we pulled up. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having a fantastic day. It is Friday, October 31st here in South Georgia. And on today's video, we're going to talk about this unique perennial allium that I've got right here. And maybe you can kind of help us figure out what this actually is. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you already know this, but if you're new to the channel, we're big into perennial alliums around here. We like finding these different types of alliums that can take our summer heat but are also cold tolerant, things that you plant once and they multiply and divide and you pretty much have them forever. And towards the end of this video, I'll give you an update on some of our other perennial alliums that we have growing, but right now let's focus on these right here. So this particular perennial allium right here, I got last year. I actually did a little trade with a guy in Florida named Josh. He's got a website called codycovefarm.com. He's got a nursery down in Florida, and he's big into perennial alliums as well. So he wanted to try some of our Louisiana evergreen shallots, and in exchange he sent me several of the perennial alliums that do well for him in Florida. Some of them have done better than others. Here for me, this one here has done really well. So when I first received these, he was calling them Maria's Guatemalan leek because he got them from a Guatemalan lady that lived in Fort Myers, Florida, that had been growing them, I guess, in her garden for a while. And that's not a bad name because the leaves are flat and do kind of look like a leek. Now since then, he's kind of changed the name, and on his site he's calling them the Maria's 365 chive, and I think that's pretty accurate. It does look a little more like a chive than a leek. Now there are lots of different perennial alliums floating around out there. Some of them been saved for generation after generation, and some of them may be the same thing, just called two different names because two different people had them and they each called them something different. So there's lots of different perennial alliums, but not all of them do well down here for us. What we're looking for when we're testing and trying out a lot of these different perennial alliums, can they take our summer heat? Alliums in general do well in the cooler months. It never gets cold enough down here to really hurt any type of allium, but can they take our summer heat, or will they just crumble when it starts getting hot? So that's one of the reasons we love that Louisiana evergreen shallot, that white Welsh onion that I've shown you in the past, and then this thing right here also thrives in our summer heat. Now this one here is a little more thirsty than some of the other perennial alliums we have. It does better when it's irrigated, but it will still grow all throughout the summer. So when we got these from Josh last year, they didn't have this little bulb on them, kind of looked like a small leek transplant. So each of these big clumps you see here started out as one little plant. I show you just how much these things multiply in a year's time. Extremely vigorous, and they multiply like crazy. And when we pull up one of those clumps, we can see it even better. So we started out with one plant there, and I'm not going to count all those, but I would say there's probably at least 50 there now. Now as I grow these more, kind of study them more and talk to Josh about these, I think they're definitely probably more closely related to a chive than they are a leek. So they do have flat leaves like a garlic chive, but these taste a little different to me. More of a pungent flavor, kind of that spicy onion flavor like you get when you eat a white onion. And these do flower like garlic chives do, but I haven't found these to volunteer near as much as garlic chives. It's been a while since I've grown any garlic chives, but I remember having some in a round raised bed, and they would just reseed and volunteer like crazy. These don't do that as much. They multiply much more by division down here at the bottom. And in talking to Josh, these don't really look exactly like garlic chive bulbs. I do think they're more of a chive than they are a leek, but we don't really know what they are. If you've ever seen anything like this, please let me know in the comments below if you can point us in the right direction on these. So for the time being, I'm just going to call these Guatemalan chives, and what we need to do today is pull those existing ones up, thin them out and replant them somewhere else. Now with any of these perennial alliums, you can leave them in the same spot for a while. You may need to thin them out on occasion. You don't have to move them, but as we rotate things around our different garden plots, plant cover crops, tarp certain plots, give a plot a rest, we do move ours around. So we're going to pull them up and replant them. You can see I've already trimmed the tops on these a little bit just to make it a little easier. So we got a bowl full of them there, trimmed up and split apart. Now I told you earlier I thought there was probably around 50 in that bunch we pulled up. As I split these apart, I realized that number is probably closer to 100. So we planted one plant and got almost 100 in return. So I'm going to replant these right here in between some of these other alliums we have growing. I've already got my fad system in place, made a furrow, amended that furrow with some coop grow, put the drip tape in there, got it covered up, and we're going to plant these on a double row. So we're going to plant these much like we would a bulbing onion transplant. Not going to plant them super deep, just going to bury that bulb a little bit. And I need to split those there apart. We got those. And I'm going to put them, I think probably, I don't know, 10 inches apart or so, seeing just how much these things multiply. I don't want to overcrowd them too much. So we'll plant on that side of the tape, and over here we'll kind of stagger our planting a little bit so that one sits in between those two there. We'll just work our way down the row here. All right, so we got that entire 30-foot double row planted there, and I've still got some left in my bowl. I think these will do better here than in that other spot because we've got more consistent irrigation here. I had drip on those others early, but haven't ran it in a while. Had the system disconnected as we put other stuff in that plot, so they should enjoy more water here. So we'll enjoy growing these another year, learning more about these. I guess I should have mentioned earlier, the bulbs on these kind of bitter. You really don't want to eat the bulbs, but the chives themselves, the green part here, is really tasty. Makes a great topping for eggs or a lot of different things in the kitchen. And it looks like I'm going to have more of these than I thought I was going to have because I've still got several clumps to pull up over there. So later this weekend or early next week, I'll get these posted on our website for anybody that wants to give them a try. You can also buy them from Josh's website, which is codycofarm.com. He told me earlier today he can only ship to Florida at the moment, but he's working on being able to get to ship to other states. So we will have a very limited supply of them. I think he has a lot more of them, so go check his website out as well. And before we go, let me give you an update on our Louisiana evergreen shallots and our white Welsh onions that we planted a while back. So here's our Louisiana evergreen shallots that we planted back in late summer, and these came up pretty well. Got a few little blank spots along the row there. There might have been 3, 4, 5 bulbs didn't come up, but most of them come up really good. And if we look down here, we can see these things are already starting to multiply. So they're putting on a lot of green growth here. Time to start hitting these pretty hard with the nitrogen. And I think I may do a little experiment this year because these things produce so many leaves and just get to be a jungle after a while. I may take a portion of this row, maybe a fourth of it on the end here, and trim it back and keep it trimmed and see if that makes a big difference with these. And usually when we have those Louisiana evergreen shallots available in the late summer or early fall, they sell out pretty fast and we don't have any until the following year. But I was able to get my hands on some more, so for as long as these last here, we do have these back in stock now. So here are white Welsh onions, and these took off really fast after we moved them. Now these have started to multiply a little bit. They don't multiply quite as vigorously as the Louisiana evergreen shallots or those Guatemalan chives. These also don't make a bulb. They make a very prolific seed head though, and these do get larger. You got a lot more green to work with there or to use in the kitchen. And we do still have seeds available for those if you want to give those a try. You can start them inside in a seed starting tray or in a cup or something like that. When they get a decent size, you can transplant them out to your in-ground garden, your raised bed container, wherever. Those things are really tough. You can grow them anywhere. So I hope you've enjoyed our journey into the wild world of perennial alliums. Like I said earlier, if you've seen anything like that Guatemalan chive before, do let me know in the comments below. And if you missed the video we did a couple weeks ago with our bulbing onion experiment, trying to plant a month earlier than we normally plant, you can watch that right here, see us get those in the ground, and also show a nice comparison of greenhouse versus outside grown onion plants. So check that out, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.